I have been posting on social media as a recreational hobby, and I have gathered well over 200,000 followers in my time on social media. And I just want to talk about how much I hate it now, just with posting specifically on TikTok. For those, I know there's a lot of new people to political TikTok, and there's so many more accounts popping up because of the 2024 election. So I thought I would paint a little backstory. Maybe some of you were too young to be part of it, of what the climate in general, like vibes of 2019, 2020 political TikTok, what it was like. I remember I started posting very regularly in April of 2020, very early April, because I remember seeing videos of people from like Liberal Hype House back when that was a thing, and they were sharing information about universal healthcare and abortion, all of that jazz. Mostly people were kind of divided into a couple different schools of thought. We had Republicans, we had liberals, there was leftists and libertarians, and that was pretty much it. Those were the dominant ideas that you'd see come up on your For You page. It was a lot of really young kids. I remember Liberal Hype House, I think, had ages ranging from like 13 to 18. Like, it was a pretty young demographic of people, and I also was like 24. So I just thought this was so interesting that there was all these kids on this app that I knew had been once Musical.ly talking about politics. And this was at a time where I had to take a break from college. I really enjoyed learning, and learning about politics is something that I have passively done for as long as I can remember. So I thought it was really cool. I started posting. I had one video in particular that popped off, and it was me talking about growing up like conservative. It wasn't even me talking. It was just an audio that was popular that was like something change your mind. Anyways, the video was me saying that me growing up like religious and conservative and whatnot, and then I went to college and got educated and became like a liberal and Democrat and like pro-abortion. And it blew up. I got like 100,000 views. It was crazy. And this kind of snowballed the direction of my, or I suppose like changed the trajectory of what social media would forever be like for me. Very different than it had ever been, just being like a passive user who just used it for personal purposes. But now I had become something, right? The content that we were all creating was so fun and different, and it was crazy because we would do debates. There would be like every Friday or Saturday night, there would be debates that were taking place on YouTube with moderators. We had Discord servers. There was all of these political hype houses that started to emerge after the fact. So then there was socialist hype house, there was leftist hype house, there's liberal hype house, conservative hype house. It was crazy. There was all of these different things. Everyone was kind of at odds with each other. It was a really interesting time to exist on political TikTok. A lot of the content that I remember really enjoying making was like debunking abortion statistics and facts that pro-lifers would push forth, because pro-lifers are known for pushing forth all of these weird fucking ideas. When it comes to adoption or even just like fetal pain and whatnot. So that's all I did. I didn't have anything else to do except like take care of my 1-year-old, who would take naps and whatnot, went to bed at a decent time, and then I would come on the internet and make my silly little dancing videos or duets. There really wasn't stitches that you could do, but I remember making those. It was really fun. However, after the 2020 election, there was kind of like a change of tone. TikTok started really cracking down. There was a lot of rumors about it being banned, and I think that discouraged a lot of people. Also, there was a mass amount of people getting not only like shadow banned, but getting permanently banned for extremist ideas, who were just like communists sharing regular old videos. I remember I ended up getting banned several times over because I would say anything about like the Nazi party being bad, and that was considered bullying and harassment. It was crazy. You couldn't even like, there was a very weird time in like the political TikTok scene when like you couldn't say anything harmful, and I think that's why people use now, like, you have to talk around topics or change the way that you say certain words. Like, you can't say Nazi on TikTok. You have to say Yahtzee. Stuff like that. Or, like, when you spell, like, white supremacy, like, you have to do like the YT. It's really stupid how much it has changed. But over the course, I would say, of the next like 2 years, a ton of people got banned. And then it kind of faded under the radar. People stopped making political content. And I think this was around the time that I ended up getting permanently banned. I had an account of over 200,000 followers. And I talked a lot about Christian extremism, white evangelicalism, because that is something I feel very passionately about. And if you watch my TikToks now that I post, I don't talk about it because I can't. You can't talk about that kind of stuff on TikTok because it'll get taken down for hate speech. And that is inevitably what I ended up getting banned for. That I got mass reported. People reported that I was 12, even though I had reported my like social security and my birthday, my ID. Like TikTok had all of the information that I was an adult. I was not less than 12 years old. So I don't know. It was a very strange time. And I know other people got banned for the same reason. So after that, I got banned and I had to use my second account. I ended up being able to reclaim my account because they wiped my username, because they wiped all of the data associated with my old account. So I could reclaim Hungry Rye, because before it was just not Hungry Rye, or when I had like a satirical account, it was like Femcel Rye when I was posting really crazy, silly videos. Anyways, the satirical political TikTok was like a whole thing that doesn't exist anymore, really. That's a conversation for another time. We need to get into the meat of like why TikTok is so insufferable to be on. And that's what I'm going to do. I ended up starting to make nonfiction content. I am friends with Nathan at Schizophrenic Reads and some other nonfiction people. So I talked to a few people, and that was like the natural direction. That was the safest direction. So I could still talk about the topics I was discussing, but because I was doing it from from the perspective of somebody reviewing a book, it was a lot easier to appeal the content. So I could still talk about communism. I could talk about Red Scare as long as it was within the context of a book. TikTok would allow it. 9 times out of 10, I didn't have any issues. And I still don't. I don't really get any videos taken down anymore. But with that, it got to the point where I didn't realize, because I started posting all of these reviews and I wasn't doing my normal like commentary and debunking, that when I started trying to do or incorporate some of that content back into my account, TikTok would take it down instantly for bullying. And there was nothing you could do. You could try to appeal it and then it would automatically, like, nobody was reviewing it. It was just computers and AI, whatever they were using in their algorithm to just take down videos. And it was always communist or left-wing, leftist. They didn't really discriminate against like Democrats because obviously they're fucking right-wing. But all of anyone that's like left-wing, you were fucked. You still are. It's very difficult to talk about Palestine and the genocide that is happening there. You can't talk about any of the things that are important that are happening in the world, and it's really frustrating. So that's like part of the problem. The second part is TikTok has kind of devolved into a point where discourse kind of goes to die. Originally, discourse was thriving. That's what you did. You went back and forth with individuals. You would debunk, argue, whatever. It was really it wasn't necessarily like productive to conversations, no, but that's what we did. That's how you got points across. People in comments, I know it still happens sometimes in my comments. I'll get people going back and forth discussing things, and that's fine, but it's not nearly to the degree. Now, during this election cycle, it's like you can't say anything. You can't talk about anything because the liberals are taking this idea of that if you say anything that's even like remotely critical of Kamala Harris, you're like a Trumper. That's incredibly frustrating to see, but it's been happening for years and years now. But there is a whole different, I don't know how to like word it. It just feels a little bit more sinister, especially given the fact that Palestinians are experiencing another genocide. They've been under occupation for 100 years, but it's so strange. Like that, this is like one of those things. I think back in 2020, nobody would have been against like supporting a genocide, but right now it feels that people have devolved into such reactionary views that they've become right-wing to some extent. And I don't think that anyone is aware of it. But you can't have this discussion online. So it's leaving people like me and some of the old people, not old people, but people who've been posting on political TikTok for a very long time in a really peculiar spot, because we want to talk out about it and we try in the ways that we can without risking our accounts getting banned. Because it's actually insane that your account can get banned for talking about what's happening in the world. And I know why. I know Michael Parenti talked about this in Inventing Reality. There's other books that talk about all of this, and it's just, this is just a stream of consciousness. I'm realizing nothing is concise. I think I'm just frustrated with the app and kind of where we're at and how I can't make the content that I liked making on TikTok. And I don't really get how YouTube works. It's so much different than when I used to consume YouTube content. Back then, 8 to 15 minute videos, that was like the standard. And now there's like video essays and people are, I don't know. It's so very different. And this is just exposing like me and my boomer skills. So it's, I guess what I'm trying to get at is like, how do we collectively move forward? Like political TikTok is changing to something that's not what I want to be a part of. I like talking about nonfiction books the most. I love reading. I read a lot. I read every single day. I've read well over 100 books, but the books that give me the most joy to read and work through is nonfiction. I love my nonfiction books. You get the most out of understanding the world through these. But I don't even think that when I post a review on TikTok, because of the way people want just dark romance and like romantasy books, they don't give a shit about nonfiction. There's such a niche community. I don't even know. It's changed so much. I have a lot of thoughts and I don't know what to do. So I guess this is just me saying, this is not like a why I left a BuzzFeed type of thing, but I need to, in a sense, rebrand or at least reorganize the content that I make so that I'm happy making it. And I'm sure most people can tell in the content that I've been making recently, I just don't give a shit. On TikTok, specifically. I like the YouTube stuff. The YouTube stuff is fun, but the vlogs, I don't want to talk about the stupid books that I read from Book Talk. I'm going to be honest. I will only talk about those if I can do them from a Marxist lens, and I think it only can be done correctly with my friend Kristen. We do it on the podcast. We have a nice structure for it. We research everything that we can before, and it's just really nice. I want to do that. I'm not wanting to be a regular book talker, and this is not like I want to be like other fucking girls, but there's nothing about that I like. I only want to talk about the books that I enjoy, and I would like to show people how to read left-wing books, because that is something that has frustrated me. I did post a video fairly recently where I was talking about how reading Marxist theory is more accessible than people give credit, and I keep getting content. It's just one person mainly, comments from people saying that actually it's not accessible because of the language. And I would love to take the time and show how to read it, how to learn to read it, tips and tricks for annotating like different books, or annotate along with me. Maybe that could be something. I would be so happy to like go back through like the Communist Manifesto, talk about some of the longer ones. I don't think I would ever do that for Capital. I don't think I'm going to do a reread of that anytime soon, because I still need to read the second and third ones. But some of the smaller ones, I would love to do intro to leftist content. So this is my case. I don't know if anyone's going to watch this, because every time I seem to post a video, It seems like people are unsubscribing because I'm not saying Hail Satan. But that's a conversation for another time. I just want to make content that I like. I like creating things. I like talking about like communism and leftism. I like reading, so occasionally I'm sure that I will be reading fiction books and be able to talk about them, like the ones that don't make it to the podcast, but the ones that I really think have a lot of potential that I think other people should read, those will make it onto this account. But other than that, I just want to do the basics. But I don't want to do like what Hassan does, where there's a Twitch stream. I don't think I can carry on that long of a stream of consciousness, although I'm doing pretty good right now. I'm just tired. I think that's it. As I'm tired, and I feel like there's so much pressure with TikTok specifically to post several times a day, and that was attainable during lockdown in the pandemic because there was nothing else to do, and I could just make my little shitpost videos. I don't want to do that unless it's something I really want to make or I think is funny that I want to share. And it's a really weird position I put myself in, but I think when you do something regularly for 4 years straight, it's kind of hard to change the style of what you're doing, but I don't know. I think this is going to be good. I know this is the longest video, and hopefully I can edit it and it will look okay. I think I'll probably do like a weekly reading vlog where I do talk about all of the books that I read. That's attainable, that's doable. But then other things that I want to post is going to be how to read left-wing text, how it is accessible, means of achieving that, how like you could like do book clubs and whatnot. I can do that for anyone that is willing to watch. Like that can be my contribution. Because unfortunately, I have to take care of children all day for the most part. I have a younger one and I have an older one. And they occupy a lot of time, and when I'm not doing that, I'm working or doing domestic labor, you know, like wage labor versus unwaged labor. And like maybe those could be topics too. Or I could just have like these Trisha Paytas style like rant videos where I just kind of upload them and they're not edited and you're just getting my stream of thoughts for well over 18 minutes. But I think that's what I wanted to do. And this all sparked originally because I was on FaceTime with Kristen, and Kristen's like, well, what do you want to do? I don't think you know what you're posting for anymore. And I you know what? That was some real shit right there. I don't. Because it feels like I can't or either articulate myself in the way I need to on the apps that I want to post on, or I don't know. So we're going to try something new. And I think this is going to be good. I'm going to probably start. I gotta find a way to record myself annotating or showing tips and tricks. I'll probably do some like B-roll as I'm talking through the books and things that I think are important. Maybe I can show my annotated texts. But this is gonna be the video for today. So I think I'm transitioning away from the weekly vlog structure or the daily vlog structure, because now I have a pretty good grasp on how to edit and the editing software. So this is just a reintroduction to my account. So I don't know, might get lifestyle stuff, you might not. I just want to post what I want to post and talk about the things I want to talk about that I think are important. And I have some funny video ideas that I think would go over well, or maybe not. But at this point, I don't care. I just want to make things that I'm proud of and happy with. And right now my content is not really reflecting that on TikTok, so I'm going to just do what I want and talk about the things that I think are important, even if that means having my account banned, I guess. Or maybe I'll make a second account. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. I just know I'm frustrated with the state of TikTok, and yeah. If you made it this far, thank you for watching. And stay tuned. I would love input if anyone does watch all of this and they have a specific book that they're struggling with. There's like a smaller Marxist text that they would like to see how I would annotate it and what to pull out of it. I can do that. Don't ask for capital right now. I'm sure I can work with some people, but I also have some other books on my shelf that I haven't gotten around to reading yet. So not all of these are read, but I have read a lot. Like at least 2/3 of them have been read. Anyways, thank you for watching.